Morning. It's now about 8:15 on the morning of Tuesday, the 20th, I think it is, of April. I'm Andy, and this is my allotment. Been a couple of weeks since I've given you a video, because to be honest, there's not a lot been happening. I had a bit of a health scare last week, so last week was pretty much written off as far as heavy lifting was concerned down here on the plot. Well, things are moving on, so I'll give you a quick run round and show you what's been going on since I was last here. Nothing much happening over here still waiting for the compost to arrive. I've actually just had a phone call now from the driver who's bringing it, be here within the hour. Fortunately, I've got to go to work today, so it'll have to wait until later. Square foot gardening bed, excuse my shadow. We've started getting things into here now, as you can see. It's all laid down, it's all been weeded. There's the chicory from last year, which is still doing well. I'm not sure if that's going to bolt, that's why I'm leaving it in. And we've got radish, turnips, lettuce and things like that in here at the moment in the square foot. Nothing coming through yet, but they were only planted about 3 days ago. All the beds now have been weeded bar for one. This bed is where the fruit is. As you can see, we have some blackcurrant bushes at this end which are really heavily laden with fruit. Again, excuse my shadow. The sun is up this morning, and for some reason I'm standing in the wrong place. I don't know why. Normally stand here and do my filming, but obviously there's not as much sun normally. Anyway, and at the back you can see the gooseberries are also really heavily laden with fruit. Loads of the stuff. I mean, look at these. These are going to be fantastic, I hope. Swinging around to this side, broad beans. Doing fine. I've got two varieties of broad beans in here. The ones on the far side are Bunyan's Exhibition, and they're all flopping all over the place and not being straight. I'm not sure why. These on this side are crimson flowering broad beans, and they're all poker straight. So not sure why there's such a difference between the varieties, and why one variety is lying on the ground then straightening up, the other is coming straight up, but no, don't know. Okay, down to this fruiting area. I've taken half of the raspberries out of this end. Looks like I missed some looking at these here. There's also some blackberries in there still, which I haven't had a chance to dig out. Nowhere to put them yet, basically. But all this bed is going to be cleared. But until I've got somewhere to put them, there's no point. On the other side, the strawberry bed is now completely cleared. All the weeds are out of that, and as you can see, there's lots of strawberries coming through. The plan is all these are going to be lifted. The bed is going to be filled with soil, which is arriving today, as I said, and then put some black weed fabric over the top. Burn some holes to the top, rather than cutting through, because if you cut through it frays. What I'm going to try and do, something I heard about a while ago, is nailing a tin can to the end of a stick, heating the open end of the tin can with a burner of some sort, and then using that to melt through the plastic so it seals it as it goes. I'm going to try it anyway. So this bed here, which has got a few strawberries in, where they spilled over from last time, the other side rather, that is also going to be strawberries. And this one, where I tied the weed fabric tip last year, worked really well, but I used cheap weed fabric. It all needs to go and be replaced. So it's quite a bit of work there. Now then, this is a bed that has not had anything done to it pretty much since it was first built, maybe 2 years ago. On the previous videos it was full of all sorts of junk. But my 2-year-old grandson is now coming down to the allotment with me. This is now Jack's patch. Not quite finished at the end, as you can see, but he's got his first crops in. He's got 3 shallots and 2 tiny little thyme plants there, which may or may not survive, I don't know. So hopefully we'll see great things from this, and he'll be a budding gardener of the future. We'll see. Rhubarb is doing fantastic. We've harvested plenty off that now. The back 2 plants are going to flower. In fact, I can see another flower on one this morning. I took some off yesterday. So I don't know why this keeps flowering. Maybe it needs some more stuff around the roots. It looks like the roots are quite proud. Perhaps I'll put some more muck around that later on this year, ready for next year. But this Victoria rhubarb at the front is star. It's fantastic. In the pond, I'll not go any closer, but we had lots of frog spawn in the pond at one point. We've now got lots of spawn, and the frogs have been eaten from out of the inside of the spawn by the newt. So I've got lots of jelly on the top, which isn't very particularly nice. More strawberries from Aldi, would you believe? 99p a punnet, I think these were, or 1.99, I can't remember now. So I've got 2 dozen strawberries there, just waiting to go in and fill the gaps over there. Raspberries and grapes. Now at one point I was a bit concerned that the 2 raspberries on this side that I transplanted were dead because nothing was coming through at all. But as you can see there now, we have got some little leaves coming through with that one and also that one. So they're doing fine. That's the one bed that I haven't yet finished weeding yet. It's a third done. It's just taking forever because it hasn't been weeded for about 3 years. That's where my 3-year-old purple sprouting broccoli experiment was. We decided to cut the experiment to the end, bring it to an end, because all that was left was a long thick trunk, which I'll show you on the compost pile in a second. And at the end of it was a tiny bit of greenery and it wasn't worth keeping. As an experiment it was interesting, but it's done. Okay. Potatoes in buckets. These were put in on Easter Monday. They, I'm hoping, are Bambinos. The problem was that I had all the potatoes chitting in my polytunnel on a frame. The wind blew, the frame fell over, potatoes all over the floor. Can you tell one chitting potato from another? Fortunately these have got brilliant green sprouts, and so I was hopeful I managed to get all of those, but there's absolutely nothing coming through whatsoever. Now, compost pile. This is the trunk I was talking about. Now that is the trunk from the broccoli, purple sprouting broccoli. It's about 1.5 inches across, probably 3-4 inches round. That's what happens if you leave it for 3 years. I wouldn't recommend it. Last year I got given a cold frame of Freecycle. Not used it before. Very homemade, but it works. We've had frost down here the last couple of nights and everything in here has survived. Got my onions at the back, which I neglected in the polytunnel for a long time. So they're looking a bit yellowy in there, but they're getting green again, and once they get fully strength they're going out. I've also got some cauliflowers to the right. In the middle I've got some peppers, and on the left I've got some spinach and some little gem lettuce. So once I've got space to put those, once the soil has arrived, these will be going down there. Now then, the greenhouse. Those of you who've watched before will know that this end of the plot used to have a bed on it, pretty much like the one behind it. But the 2 beds were in the wrong place for a greenhouse, because the beds are 5 foot wide and the greenhouse is 6 foot wide. I didn't want just a 1 foot gap between the greenhouse and the next bed. So everything's moved down a foot, and I've laid some flags to make a base. What I'm going to do is put a frame around the outside of flags, and then the gap in the middle is going to be filled in with aggregate chippings, so that if the centre does sink, because it was a compost pile before I used it as a bed, so it's quite soft in the middle. If it does sink, all I can need to do is put some more chippings on the top, rather than have the problems of flags sinking. So that's where we stand at the moment. So I was in the middle of doing this when I had my little health scare, shall we say. Turns out to be nothing, so there's no worries, but it's slowed me down a bit. So my son is hopefully going to come down and help me lay the last 5 flags, then we can start building it and then we can actually use it, which will be great. And onions and garlic in here, doing wonderful. And that's basically it, there's nothing else. All the cabbages etc. have been harvested from over there now. There's a couple of small ones left which might come to nothing, but I've left them because we don't need them. And the thug of a comfrey, which is growing rapidly, I need to shift that. I need to shift that down the back of the shed or something like that, so it's out of the way and it's not going to start blocking paths. Anyway, I'll leave you with a shot of my allotment on this wonderful, brilliantly blue skied day in Manchester. Don't get many of those, so enjoy it while you can. Thanks for watching, speak to you later. Bye bye.